Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Aiden Cossack, and today we're going to be talking about the latest biopic, Tolkien.
This is more than just a friendship. It's an alliance. An invincible alliance.
A fellowship.
Tolkien, as the movie tells you it's pronounced, is a biopic about J.R.R. Tolkien's life. He's the famous author of the Lord of the Rings series, The Hobbit, all of the other little short stories that I'm sure you guys know everything about, that I have no idea about, all that good stuff. I've never read one of his books other than The Hobbit, which was mandatory, but I'm a huge Lord of the Rings film fan. I love those movies. The Hobbit, not so much, but I love Lord of the Rings. So the moment that a trailer for this thing came out, and the moment I knew that this thing was coming, I was super looking forward to it because I don't know too much about Tolkien. I didn't know what his upbringing was. I didn't know about his past life. I never really knew anything about him other than he wrote these books that later became a huge pop culture phenomenon. So I was definitely curious to see what this movie was going to be. And going into the screening, I knew that the reactions on it were literally down the middle. I think right now it stands at a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. So half the critics like it, half the critics don't like it. And I definitely fall into the side that really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this movie. I think Nicholas Hoult and Lily Collins are the heartbeat of this film. And no pun intended, the fellowship that you feel throughout this whole movie, whether it's Tolkien's relationship with Jonathan or his other buddies that he has, and his relationship with Edith, I believe was his wife's name, their romance, their chemistry was fantastic, and even just the flashbacks to his younger life with the younger actor played by Harry Gibley, who was great in this movie. I mean, this entire movie is just filled with fantastic performances. If you leave this movie and you aren't really that big of a fan of it, you can't deny that the performances in this film are fantastic. But with the performances, some of the dialogue that the actors are given, honestly, in my opinion, felt at times a bit pretentious and a little too heavy-handed into knowing language and speech and words and all this stuff that I don't really care about, to be honest, which, who knows, maybe that's just an interest thing, or maybe that's just the film, but I've seen plenty of movies with subject matter that I personally don't care about that have completely gotten me engaged the entire time, but there's times in this movie where I find myself going, okay, when are we going to cut to the next scene? This is dragging on a little too long. And that is one of the problems of this movie. It is a little too long. There are definitely probably 8 scenes that I can think of right off the top of my head that could have been trimmed down by 2 minutes or didn't even need to be in this movie at all. They didn't really serve a narrative purpose that a later scene couldn't have done itself. And narratively, the way that they tell the story of this movie was very interesting to me. If any of you guys have seen Mr. Nobody, which is a movie that had no business having the budget that it did and performing the way it did, but it starred Jared Leto, and the way that they told the story in that through the older eyes and the flashbacks into his younger years was very interesting to me, and that's kind of the approach that they take with this movie, where you get Tolkien on the battlefield with World War I going on, and you see a little bit of the inspirations of the Lord of the Rings series starting to come up through those flash forwards, but I often found myself going, okay, when are we going to get rid of this? Because I was way more invested in what was going on prior to that, and I just thought that this movie could have benefited from a more linear storytelling device instead of non-linear. The way they show it in the trailers, and you see the dragon on the battlefield, and you're seeing Sauron, and you're seeing the talking trees, which, forgive me, I don't know what they're called. Please don't crucify me in the comment section, but you're seeing all these creative aspects of what we know from him, and it's kind of lacking throughout the whole movie. You get it here and there, but It's either you're going to go all in on the Lord of the Rings or you're not going to do any of it at all. And unfortunately, they just kind of dip their toe in it a little bit. There's not too much that you really get from the movie. There's a couple references here and there, and you get to see where he gets some of the inspiration from some of the things and how his wife really, really inspired him. But like I said, if you're going to go into it, I want all of it. I don't want to get left having to think to myself, was that a reference to this? And how did he come up with Hobbit? And all these kind of questions that you don't really want your audience to think throughout this movie. Overall, Tolkien is a fine biopic, but its strength is definitely this cast and the performances that you get from this. And that theme of fellowship all throughout this entire movie was fantastic. Would I rush to go see this in the theaters? Probably not. I would probably wait to watch this thing on Amazon, where it's inevitably going to come out with the Lord of the Rings TV show following probably soon after. But I would definitely give this movie an 8 out of 10. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this entire video. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button down below, comment, are you looking forward to this movie? Are you hyped about it because you love Lord of the Rings like I do? All that fun stuff. Please be sure to hit my social media links in the description below. Also hit the notification bell so that way you guys can stay up to date with everything I have coming on my YouTube channel in the future and all that great stuff. And thank you guys so much for watching.